We're going to have an invocation by Pastor Miller. And then after that, we'll have Pledge of Allegiance led by Corey Billings. Please rise.
All right, let's bow our heads in prayer, if you would. Father, we come to you tonight in prayer, and we thank you for your goodness to us. Lord, as we prepare to hear the reports from the last 12 months, we just want to thank you for your watch care over our firefighters and our police officers, and we do pray that you continue to keep them safe this year as they serve our community. Father, we thank you for those that are serving abroad, keeping our country safe. We ask for you to watch over them and their families. And Father, for this meeting tonight, we pray that you'd bless it, that you'd use it, and that our community would be blessed as a result of it. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ambrose,
Here.
Button,
Here.
Kale,
Here.
Raymond,
Here.
Nelson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Alrighty, City Attorney will report out on closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. Council convened in closed session under two items. One, a matter of existing litigation. There's no reportable action. Council received direction, and we've received information to provide a direction on the public employee appointment. City manager, the council received information, had discussion, and will continue to deliberate and reconvene in closed session after the open session concludes.
Thank you. Do we have any subsequent need items?
Mayor, there are no subsequent need items.
Okay, we have the agenda before us. Do we have a motion to approve it as posted?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Button, second by Raymond. Kale,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Button,
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And now we're on to the consent calendar.
Background information has been provided on all matters listed under the consent calendar, and these items are considered to be routine. All items under the consent calendar are normally approved by one motion. If a council member requests separate discussion on any item, that item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate action.
Is there any public comment regarding the consent calendar? Saying nobody come forward. I'm going to close.
This furniture item is under the consent calendar, is it not?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I have not been shy about telling all you guys that this is the biggest money pit boondoggle that this city has ever encountered. $329,000 with ARPA money to go and buy new furniture for a building that we shouldn't even be occupying. But nonetheless, let's just, for the benefit of the public and the benefit of the council that may forgot, the purchase $1 million. Last meeting, $1,285,000 to remodel it. $92,000 for a structural integrity test to see if you could put air conditioning units on the roof. I can't remember the exact amount, but I believe it was $42,000 for electrical work because the electric isn't sufficient enough to power it up. And on top of that now, we add another $329,000 for new furniture to include chairs with ottomans and marble tabletop, tables. Now, gentlemen, this is ridiculous. Ottomans? Who's putting their feet up? Who is going to be doing that? Think about it. This ARPA money is supposed to be for the public benefit, not for the employee benefits. That's what this comes down to. I don't know what you guys are thinking about, but I know what's going to happen tonight. This is going to get rubber stamped right on through like everything else. And this is a damn shame, guys. $329,000 for furniture. This is nuts, and I hope that people take a look at the staff report sometime, look it up on the internet, and see how this is going down. This is nuts. And if you guys are going to be the gatekeepers for the finances of this city, tonight's the night to show it.
Any other comments?
Linda Dash, Atwater. I think there's other things that you can purchase out of this ARPA money. I hope that you've looked into your public safety, or there things that they might need, portables, radios, vests, so forth. How about taking care of some of our sidewalks that are causing people to fall, trip? You know, a lot of it, you have a huge district, Mr. Kale, District 1, and a lot of the sidewalks are there broken because it's an older area. But when you want to, I think it's time you stop being designer Don, okay? All this decorating and let's start doing our jobs of policing and so forth. Thank you.
Any further public comments? Okay, seeing nobody else come forward, I'm going to close public comment now. Are there any items on the consent calendar that council would like to remove for separate discussion and possible action?
Yeah, I was already planning on pulling the furniture run also. Number 5, I believe.
Okay.
4, number 4. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. Would any council member like to make a motion regarding consent calendar?
Motion to approve the remainder of the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion by Raymond, second by Kale. Kale?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Button?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so we're on to back to item 4, authorizing and approving cooperative purchase agreement with Facility Designs for purchasing of office furniture. Justin?
Yeah, I'm guessing, what was your questions, Kale? Councilmember? Yeah, so the items that are included here were done through RFP process through the state. So we get the cheapest cost that we can get for these items already through an RFP, right? If council wants to remove some of these items that can lower the cost, we'll have to go back to the designer and kind of work with them. If we want less chairs or ottomans or lounge seats or partitions.
If the council doesn't mind me chiming in really quick, I worked with Justin a little bit on this item, and part of the function was, as Councilmember Kale suggested, was provide a clean, safe environment for the employees to work in, but also I want to make sure that everybody keeps in mind that some of this work environment had to be specifically designed to shoehorn 2 different or 3 or 4 different departments into one building. So part of this wouldn't be as easy as going and finding off-the-shelf furnitures that would work in this particular case. In some cases, it might, but in this particular case, incorporating and integrating two different divisions into one building required a lot of custom fit.
Yeah, and I,
Justin, is that correct?
and I believe when we did Civic 1, the furniture cost was 110 or 120,000
For a third of the employees.
for the third amount of the employees. It's just the cost of this, of the furniture is what it is.
Sorry. Here's the part that I was looking at directly, is that we're gonna, get so I can see this. 17 sit-on freelance chairs for $9,000, $10,000. 17 chairs for $10,000, that's outrageous. I find it astronomical. 100 and banquet seating for, I just said banquet seating, 7 seats. And includes 2 soft rectangular tables, one 36-inch round, 8 and 36 high H tables, 4 desk chairs, 4 grand counter stools for $15,800. My gosh, that is, to me, that's kind of crazy. And I can't live with it. I agree. I was here when we agreed that it would benefit the city greatly if we moved everything downtown, and it would help recreate a better downtown, and we've been working on that. But I don't want it to be an extravagant downtown office. Excuse me, Frank, I've been in attorney's offices that don't have furniture that costs this much. And again, they're looking at if you send it out to RFPs, then they're looking at a cash cow. And I can't agree with it.
Any other council comments? Okay, well, I'll just pop in here then. So I recall seeing the drawings of what the layout of the office was going to be, but I don't think we ever saw what the furnishings were going to be, you know, the fancy drawings that give you what's going to be there. That would be kind of nice to.
They were in the plans.
Were they in the plans?
Yeah, all the specs and everything.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, I don't recall seeing that, but anyway. But yeah, it is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Questions, comments?
Maybe, you know, because I'm not as familiar with this either, but for folks that are thinking, kind of what John was saying, why the city can't get stuff from a different type of vendor, or, you know, stuff from, I'm not saying we would furnish everything from like Big Lots or something like that, but could you guys maybe kind of expand on what the limitations are with the city doing something like that?
We could send out an RFP, and which, I mean, it's already been done, and this was the lowest price, but we can do it again and with staff time. The only other, or we can change and see if we can get less of this stuff, or change the whole specs to try to see if there's anything else we can get. Or, I mean, the only other option would be to try to just use the stuff we have and move in with the stuff we have.
If the direction of council would be potentially 2 parts on this, one, see what reuse would be available for the city's existing equipment, and or to work with vendors to tell them to sharpen their pencil a little bit. I don't have an issue with that if the public works director doesn't.
No, there's no issue with that. And like I said, we could try using what we have first and see, you know, if it doesn't really work out, then come back with something else.
So how do we do that, Frank? We table the motion, or until?
Yeah, you could simply just table it in light of, you know, if that's where, and direct staff to proceed as they've just outlined.
How long would Thank you.
Recirculate an RFP.
Fast.
What's that?
I said I could work pretty fast. Won't be too long. Less than a month.
All right. Do we have to vote on tabling this? Yes. Okay. So you make that motion? Or do you want to have comments now? Oh, now you do. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, it's not an order.
No.
So, I've said from the beginning, and I've pretty much voted that way consistently, I don't believe ARPA funds should be used for this. They should be to benefit the public. But something could be considered is cheaper quality as well for some things for cost savings. But I don't believe the ARPA funds should be used for this.
Table.
I'll make a motion to postpone this to a later date until after Justin gets the new proposals out.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Kale, second by Button. Kale?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Button?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
I hope we have restored your faith in the city council, Jim. All right, so now we're on to the regular session. We're going to have 3 reports here this evening, at least. We're going to start with the 2023 annual report from the fire department. Chief Ayuso.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I appreciate the opportunity to address you this evening. I'm very excited and proud to present this to you. And the reason for our success and the progress we made over the last year was not only a collaborative effort working with staff, but the support that we received from City Council as well as our community. I'm proud to say this is probably the most progress that the Atwater Fire Department has made in the history. Very proud of everything that's happened. I'll make this as brief and informative for you as I can. And at the end, if you have any questions, feel free to answer. You each got a pamphlet printout of the annual report for the audience. There are some in the back. I do ask if you grab one and it's going to get round filed that we leave it for future events. But if you'd want to look at it digitally, there is a QR code on the front cover when you open the front page, and you can scan that, look at it digitally on your phone. So. We'll move right into the PowerPoint presentation. We'll start with our call volume and personnel. So stats for calls in 2023, we had a total of 4,384 calls. That's an average of right about 12 calls per day. Did drop a little bit from 2022. That was combined 2,719 calls for 41 and 1,665 for 42. Of those calls, just a few of the top ones: fires 332, vehicle accidents 246, 29 just over 2,900 medical aids, and 823 other. And you can look at that more specifically in your handouts on pages 23 to 25 with a little more detail. Those calls were based on these current response plans that we have in place. I know it's a little hard to view without zooming in. The reason I kind of highlight some of these is we did have an increase in staffing, which over the next year we're going to be evaluating different call types that we can potentially look at reducing our response to rather than sending 2 pieces of equipment. And I'll just point out one of those being alarm soundings. Keep the wear and tear off the equipment, sending two apparatus, reducing that to 1 hopefully, and we'll have enough personnel at scene to for the incident, as well as still leaving 1 resource available to the city. Personnel, really big one for us in 23. We improved to 20 safety personnel. That went from 12 last year to 20 this year. That is 2 battalion chiefs, myself, the operations battalion chief, as well as Chief Lopes, who's the fire marshal. We have 6 fire captains now. That increased by 2 with the increase in staffing levels. 6 engineers still, and then we added the 6 firefighters, and that was done this last contract. They're on duty 72 hours, 3 days per week minimum, and that does allow us daily staffing levels of 3 personnel at each station with 1 battalion chief covering. We do still have 8 active reserve firefighters or volunteers, and those individuals are required to work 36 hours per month. That's 1 24-hour shift and a 12-hour shift. Training hours and inspections. For total training hours, we had approximately 6,300 hours. These hours are combined hours of formal trainings as well as day-to-day, weekly and monthly trainings. Paid personnel was approximately 5,400 hours, and reserve firefighters was around 900. Those are all logged through a Vector Solutions program that we use to track our hours as well. So, inspections. This is Chief Lopes's area of expertise. Apartments, 221, schools, 15, and assemblies, 21. We met the state mandate, SB 1205, for schools, assemblies, apartments, and hotels. And again, that's what we have to report to our governing bodies each year to stay compliant. And we've done so since that came in place after the Ghost Ship fire in Oakland. We can go back real quick. This is kind of a good highlight for any business owners. Chief Lopes was diligent in revamping our inspection process for businesses, and in doing that, he broke the city up into 4 quadrants. And what that does is it allows us to focus on 1 quadrant per year. So essentially, businesses should receive an inspection every 4-year rotation. What that does is it allows us the ability to focus on getting those done thoroughly and making sure that they are compliant and safe for not only themselves but the public. And it also will ensure that we don't have certain businesses that receive an inspection, say, year after year, while others could potentially get missed. So that was kind of a big deal. And with that, he also implemented a new inspection program, which is called Streamline, and it has really done just that. It has streamlined the process, not only for the fire department, but for our local business owners. So going on to accomplishments and goals. Again, the big one, improved staffing levels. That's a huge thing. 2 captains, 6 firefighters, and 1 office technician. The office technician works 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, allows the ability to assist with clerical work, answer phones, and so on. It did, again, improve our staffing levels to 3 personnel at each station. We ordered a Type 6 fire engine, which we've talked about a few times through High Tech. That's going to be staffed at Station 42, cross-staffed, and allow a smaller, more efficient piece of equipment to run medical aids, vegetation fires, and so forth, keeping the ladder truck off the road as much. We purchased and upfitted 2 new command vehicles, and ironically, those were picked up today, and I rushed back to the station, was able to swap mine over and get it in service. So that was literally about 2 hours before the meeting. It is out front. If anybody has any interest in looking at what we did and how they were upfitted, they turned out great. We were successful in a regional grant with Merced City Fire for new self-contained breathing apparatus and a Cascade fill station. That's a stationary fill station. Those are the packs that we wear on our backs when we go into an IDLH atmosphere. Those were much needed. We were hitting the end of the lifespan for our current pack, so a big deal. And that also obviously was great working with Merced City and improving those relations as well. We initiated the public safety master plan, myself and Chief Salvador, as well as Mr. Thompson have been working diligently on that. Continue to expand and progress in training and interagency relations, which is an ongoing thing for us as well. So goals for 24, a couple of these are going to be ongoing goals throughout our years of moving forward, but one that I've kind of focused more attention on is improving our firefighter health and wellness. We started by increasing staffing levels, which has not only helped morale, but it's relieved a lot of stress on the stations. It's definitely a big thing, so I want to try to focus a lot on that over the coming years. Creating a balanced expenditure plan that continues the advancement of equipment replacement and improved staffing to prepare for potentially a 3rd station in the future. And what I mean by that is just looking at the future. We're in a 3-year agreement right now with CAL FIRE, but trying to do incremental increases in staffing and in pre-planning for our equipment. Our Type 6 engine is going to be about 2 years out, and we start looking at the future and what equipment we may need as far as engines go, and we're looking at sometimes, depending on the vendors, 3 to 5 years up to for production of a Type 1 fire engine. So it's just something that we need to try to keep in the back of our minds. I want to work towards the completion of the Public Safety Master Plan, continue to progress on the Station 41 remodel, bathrooms, bay doors, exterior paint. Mr. Vincent's been great helping us with that project as well. Continue to foster relationship with neighboring agencies and advance effectiveness on incidents. And with that, in closing, again, I appreciate the ongoing support from council as well as the rest of staff and the community for everything you've done to support our great city and our Atwater Fire Department. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thanks, Chief. Any questions from council?
I have one, only because of my ignorance. Inspections completed. What's an assembly inspection?
I'm sorry, what the
Assembly inspection?
assemblies are like APC Hall.
okay.
Churches can fall under assembly, fall under
Okay, anywhere there's a group of
gathering,
people.
large gathering areas.
Okay,
correct.
great.
Yep.
Thanks.
Is there any public comment on the report? Seeing none, okay, thank you. So now we're on to the Police Department 2023 Annual Report. Chief Salvador.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Mike Salvador, your police chief. This is my 5th annual report to the council and to the community, and I'm proud to give this. I want to thank my staff and the guys who do the job on a daily basis for all the hard work that they've done over the past 12 months. Good, you know. Our organization is pretty linear when it comes to this. We are funded for 28 sworn. We currently have 3 vacancies. Out of the 28 sworn and the 3 vacancies, we have 2 in the academy right now, so they're unusable. So we're operating basically day-to-day operations on 23 out of the 28 sworn. 13 funded non-sworn. We have no vacancies. It's a traditional chain of command with 4 patrol sergeants, a sergeant over detectives. I have an administrative supervisor, code enforcement manager, and the lieutenant is my second in command. Our patrol shifts, if everybody shows up for work and we're fully staffed, we run 3+1, 24 hours a day. Next. Where's the money come from? We've heard a lot about money, so go ahead and click for me, Janelle. General fund is $6.3 million. Measure B constitutes $2.4 million. Our community facilities district, the major one being around the Buac Colony High School area, is just a little under $750,000. We spend a total of $9.4 million a year on policing services throughout the city. We are a revenue consumer and not a revenue generator. Next, please. One of the things that I really tried to work on in the 5 years I've been your chief is our contact with the community. And a measure of that is the calls for service rate. A lot of people look at this statistic and they think, oh my God, everything's going to hell in a handbasket. I don't see it that way. I see rising calls for service as an indicator that we are connecting with the community. They trust us, therefore they call us when they need us. And for the 3rd straight year in a row and 4 out of the last 5 years, our calls for service have increased. Now that 28,207 number is the number of inbound calls for service. We have about 11,000 officer-initiated calls for service every year. So we're approaching the 40,000 calls for service mark. Next slide, please. This too is a little hard. It's easier on the one screen, but we got to figure out how to take these types of. Bobby and I worked on this together. This is our crime statistics. 2 years ago, they changed the way we count criminal activity by the federal government, and we have to abide by the new reporting standard. A tribute to our people, including our records department, is one of those is a mandate that we accurately report statistics within 3%. So a 97% accuracy rate on reporting from the patrol and detectives line up through records to the federal government. And our staff has done a really, really good job. We have met that standard the 2 years that it's been required. We're one of the few agencies in California that got it right on the first try. So I'm really proud of our people. Violent crime in the city is down considerably in all categories, from homicide to robbery. We're down in double digits across the board. We're also down, well, we're not down in property crimes. Property crimes in and of itself are up. They're up statewide. They're also up here in Atwater at the same rate. Between stolen vehicles and larcenies and burglaries, we're up probably 5 to 10% across the board, for a total crime rate up about 4.5 to 5%. Next slide, please. And then 59% of all reported crime in the city of Atwater is property related. It's not crimes against people. This is the stat I'm probably most proud of, and it takes into effect the activities of our officers, even with the fact that we're continually to struggle with open positions. When I took over as police chief, we were averaging a traffic accident and a half a day in the city of Atwater, and it was consistent. We really started hitting that hard with enforcement activities, education activities, and we have considerably cut that rate over the years. And this year, for the first year in the 5 years I've been your chief, we did not average a traffic accident a day in the city. It's 11% decrease over last year. And then I went back to 2019, and that decrease is over 25%. You don't do that alone. Our people are doing great work out there. Although our injury collisions are up considerably, when we do have a traffic accident, they're more serious. Our fatals are pretty flat. And then our people, between handling 40,000 calls for service, they're averaging about 4 citations a day. As we continue to staff up and fill our positions, I see that number increasing. Next slide, please. Now, we do other things besides investigate crimes and go to traffic accidents and write tickets. We have animal control, code enforcement, and we have a police officer stationed at the Atwater Elementary School District. We handled 1,144 calls for service when it comes to animal control, and 90% of those are solved without going to the shelter. That is a huge shift in the 5 years that I've been here. We've cut the cost of animal control almost by 50%. Our code enforcement unit is extremely busy. They've handled 1,200 and almost 50 calls for service over the year. We've served almost 1,500 notices to abate. And we've got about an 80% compliance rate from our property owners, which is really, really good. Now, we're always looking to do better. We've had some changes in the code enforcement environment with graffiti abatement and who does what cleanup. But we're working through those, and we're going to continue to press forward to make our city as clean as possible. Our school resource officer at AESD is extremely busy between intermingling with the children and teaching classes and being present. He took 464 calls for service. 1 out of every 4 calls he wrote a report on. Issued 92 citations, made 22 traffic stops in school zones, and that is a 6-month number, not a 12-month number. That is from August of this year, or 2023, through the end of the year. We don't get a full set of stats in a calendar year due to the school district, the school period. Next slide, please. So, what other things have we done? There are 4 major projects that we completed in 2023. First is the final deployment of battery electric vehicles in admin, code enforcement, and animal control. We've had them since August with a full build out in November. We're starting to see the benefits of that, both in maintenance and fuel costs and driving those down. When we receive our electric vehicle charging stations in the spring of '24, I expect that number to continue to go down. They'll be more effective. We also deployed a citizens portal for the first time where residents can write their own crime reports. A lot of times in these public meetings I hear, well, we don't want to call you, you're busy, and we don't want to bother you. Well, we rolled this out in November, and we're now averaging 3 reports a day on this system. And this system is getting results. During the holidays, we had a citizens report of porch pirates through the portal. They were able to upload their Ring doorbell camera video to the portal, and we made the case, and that person has been filed upon. We're pursuing charges. We also tied it to a sheriff's office case based on the doorbell video that the resident uploaded to the system. Huge win. We're going to continue to expand that and deploy that with a kiosk here in the lobby to help us out. What we saw during the winter floods was we didn't have a place to do video conferencing in an emergency operations environment. We do now. I redeployed some space within headquarters here, put video conferencing equipment paid for by the federal government. And that went operational at the beginning of the year. Really nice 10-person conference room. And then we replaced all the police officers' primary sidearms this year also with new sidearms with optical sights on them. State of the art. They're replacing 10-year-old equipment. Now, what are we looking at for 2024? We are looking at, there you go. We're looking at deploying the first set of license plate reading cameras here within the city at 2 intersections, 5 Corners and Atwater Boulevard and Schaefer. We are also a big participator with the fire department in the public safety master planning process. It'll be the first public safety master plan the city's ever seen. We're out to get pricing on in-car video to expand our body camera system. Criminal prosecutions without video now are almost non-existent. Our e-citation program is still in play. We hope to have that done by the end of the first quarter. And then in 2019, when I became your chief, I unveiled a strategic plan. Well, we've accomplished about 90% of that plan in the last 5 years, and it's time for a new planning cycle to start. So in 2024, we'll start the work on a new strategic planning cycle, look at our equipment, look at our policies, look at our procedures, look at our trends, and try to figure out where the department's going to be in 2030. And if there are any questions, I'm headed into my report.
Any councilmen have any questions for the chief? I guess not. Is there any public comments on the report?
And if anybody'd like the report, it's in the back.
And it's available online as well?
Yes, it is. It will be.
Okay. Great. Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm interested to learn a little bit more. You said that during the accidents, there was more injuries. Was it injuries of car accidents or people in car accidents?
People in car accidents. We had 41 of them that had somebody injured in them.
Okay. Do we know, like, what is the cause of these accidents? Is it infrastructure? Is it high speed? Is it?
It's actually failure to yield the right of way,
Perfect.
especially at intersections.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to the next report from Public Works Director regarding the recent storm events and planning efforts. Justin?
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. So this last storm event, the atmospheric river, Atwater got lucky. It bypassed us, basically kind of split off. So we didn't get that much rain. At least we didn't get a downpour. But we still prepped for it. We rented another VACON. So we had 3 VACONs ready, which are suction trucks to help us on flooding zones. We made over 200 sandbags, and we took them out to the residents at Lower Schaefer, on Olive, and at Eucalyptus, where we know there's flooding at, and help those residents out. That way they didn't have to go get them from Atwater Boulevard. And then we had around 14 Public Works crew members working after hours, and in certain zones we made 4 zones up so they weren't running all around. They would just stay in their zone, and everybody knew whose zones they were supposed to be working in. The only street flooding there was the 3 areas that are common on Lower Schaefer, Atwater Boulevard, and Eucalyptus. And those are the 3 areas we're working on the drainage projects. Lower Schaefer, we are close to 30% design. So that's still on target to be completed by the end of this year. And that once we get that done, that's going to free up so many resources, because we have to have 2 VACONs down there. It takes like 6 employees just to try to curb as much as we can of flooding. And then Atwater Boulevard and Eucalyptus, we're looking at probably 2 years before construction's finished on those. Right now, we're doing drainage studies to see what's going to be the best way and the cheapest way to move the water that's sitting in the road right now. If council has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Justin?
Just clarification on the South Schaefer. When you say this year, are you talking about fiscal year or calendar year?
Calendar year.
Okay,
So we should have it done before next rain season.
got it. Thank you very much for this update.
Yep.
Anybody in the public have a comment? Question? Okay, seeing nobody come forward. Thank you very much for your presentations, gentlemen. Thank you for the work you do. Appreciate it. Pass that along to your staff, please. Okay, we're on to city manager updates.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I don't have anything this evening to report out from the Office of the City Manager, just in sessions to follow. We probably will be discussing the Public Safety Master Plan and the CFDs that were mentioned in both Bobby and Chief's report. Thank you.
Okay. Now we're on to comments from the public.
At this time, any person may comment on any item which is not on the agenda. You may state your name and address for the record, however, it is not required. Action will not be taken on an item that is not on the agenda. If it requires action, it will be referred to staff and or placed on a future agenda. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes.
Under the Brown Act, members of the public must address the city council as the legislative body of the city, not other members of the public or staff. I am now opening public comment. Janelle, do we have any speaker cards?
Yes, Mayor, I have 2 speaker cards.
Okay.
First, I have Maria Delgado.
Good evening.
Hi. Hi again. Hola. Yes, my name is Maria Delgado, and I live on, I have to give my address?
You,
Not necessarily, but
Okay,
If
but I
it might
do
help.
want to acknowledge that I do live on Suncrest. And I'm a little bit confused because I no longer know who is my city council member. I don't know if it's Mr. John, city council member John Kell, or Danny Ambrose. And so I know it was district, and so I'm confused. But I would like to give one of these to every single council member, including the mayor, so that you can see the pictures that I have attached to the petition that I am bringing up before you guys. I do want to say that I walked down the street on my block, Suncrest, and I collected everyone's signature on that block. And I also collected from I don't know the name of that other street. There's a big issue happening there. What happens is that, I'm sure you guys get this a lot, there's a lot of potholes. But I want you to see the pictures and see why it's a big concern to me. And I'm bringing this attention to everybody because my house is right in front of Herman. So if you have Herman, there's a stop there. And officer, you mentioned that a lot of accidents are happening because people are not yielding. That's exactly what happens. And so when you have that and you have vehicles that are speeding down that street and then you have potholes, they're gonna run into my house. And I don't wanna have to call the news to my house to tell them that somebody lost control because of those potholes. They're gonna either run into a vehicle of mine or one of my neighbors, or somebody's gonna get injured. There's more than 25 potholes in front of my house. And then I brought the asphalt for you guys to see that it's not a joke. This is what I've been dealing with, City Council Member Danny, when you were running for election and you requested my vote. Infrastructure is a big thing in this community. But when it comes to people's safety and knowing that anybody can lose control into their house or a parked vehicle or somebody walking because that's how bad it is, then that becomes a safety issue. And so I am here on behalf of the 27 people that signed my petition to make sure that we find a long-term solution. I'm not asking for those potholes to be filled, which costs like $30 to $55, plus about $150 for staff to go out there. I'm asking for that whole block to be refurnished, resurfaced. I'm sorry, that's not my vocabulary. I have a different vocabulary, but please know that this is a big concern for me, and for my family, and for our community residents. So
Thank you.
How would you like for me to share this?
You can give them to the city clerk here, Mr. Billings. He'll take those and he'll make sure they get
Thank you.
distributed.
And City Council member, whoever you are, I would love more than happy to schedule a meeting with you and walk with you my street. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad you bring this up because there's two things here. One, council is concerned about that. And the other thing is, are you aware of the Text My Gov feature? If you look in the utility newsletter, there should be something in there with a QR code, Text My Gov. You can upload photos of your problems, whether it's potholes, trees down, this, that, whatever. And it'll go to the appropriate department and they will respond to you and they'll get it fixed.
Beautiful. I want to say thank you to that. I did call already the traffic commission or whoever it was, and they also advised me to come here. But absolutely,
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
am open for suggestions, and I'm here as a very concerned constituent, and I want to be able to work with my city council members.
Well, we can't
So-
fix things if we don't know something's wrong. And then the other thing I will say too was, as far as the council districts, if you want to know that information, it's available on the city website.
I still can figure out. I saw the district
I
map.
I
Very
agree with you
blurry.
on that, but it is there.
It's very
someplace.
blurry.
It's there. It's there.
I had Corey is in the back with her to click on the hyperlink. He's going to show her exactly how to do it.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Corey will take it. Okay, thank you. We had another speaker card.
Yes, the next speaker card that we have is for Margie Mattis.
Hello, my name is Margie Matus, and I met Maria Delgado just the other day. She's on my block. and she brought this up to me. I can tell you, I've worked for large companies. I've traveled a lot in work. I'm retired now, but I was in charge of human resource and safety. So safety is a big deal for me, but I've been typecast as a personality A. When you have a lot to do, you don't fix the copier when it needs to be fixed. You wait till somebody else comes and takes care of it. But I wanted to come today and give support to Maria because there's the doers that see it needs to be done. And I certainly want to be a support to that because I don't go to the end of my block where she lives. I take other routes because it's that bad. And, you know, it would be nice if that whole street looked like it should look. She's got pictures of it. So I have to reroute because I've had cars that were lower to the ground, and I had to replace the catalytic converters because it does damage to your cars. When you hit a pothole, oh my God, it feels like I don't know what it's going to do to the car, to the alignment, to those type of things. So I've had to fix my cars before, so I'm well aware of that. I just appreciate that she did all the footwork. She went ahead and did something, so I'm just here to support her.
Thank you. You're a good friend. Okay, so no more speaker cards. Anybody else wish to speak? Come up, sir.
I do have another speaker
Oh,
card.
you have another one?
Sorry, thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
For Christina Flores.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm here in regards to potholes as well.
Can you do me a favor and lift the mic? There you go.
Okay, Christina Flores, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm here as well also in regards to the street I live on, Fortuna Avenue. We have over 100 potholes. The scraping is, the amount of scraping on my car, my fenders falling off. I need new, I don't know what they're called, the new forks on your tire when you bounce around too much. Those are leaking and it's just, it's pretty bad. And we can't even scooter in the street because it's just, it's horrible. I do call to have it repaired. They come out, they slap it on, and then the next day and no car comes over and it's just that asphalt or whatever, the rocks are just all over the place. The paint jobs on all our neighborhood cars are all just destroyed because of the rocks that are coming up from cars just speeding through. And I have pictures and it's just, I don't know, I'm super nervous. I'm just asking for it to be repaired, not just potholes to be, it's impossible at this point. It's not even, but for it to be repaved, not just splatted on some black stuff. I think that's it. I have pictures though.
Okay. Yeah, no, we understand that, you know. So it's unfortunate, I'd say, that over time, things that should have been repaired didn't get repaired for money reasons or whatever reasons it was. But we are concerned about these issues. And Justin is better able to answer anything specific about it. Could you kind of explain to the public what the process is and where the money comes from and all that good stuff?
Yeah, right now, we have to apply basically for grants to get road services repaved because we don't get enough money in gas tax anymore from the state to apply that to the road services. So you said Fortuna? Fortuna. Like, we can take these addresses in, and when we go for grants, we can say, oh, okay, we want Suncrest, Fortuna. I mean, there's a lot. Believe me, we know we have the pavement index, but we can try for grant money. And I know it's not really what you want to hear, but the gas tax has how much money in it? The gas tax fund? Almost nothing. Because the state cut all of our funding.
But First Street was just repaved and there was nothing wrong with it. Like, I wanted to ask the paver people just to, on my street. And it's concerning because, I mean, if you can just really try.
Yeah, we'll try. We'll try.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for bringing that to our attention, though. I know it's difficult to come here and stand there, so you did a good job. Okay, we have a gentleman here that wishes to speak. Come on up, sir.
Fortuna.
How you doing? My name's Alfredo. I'm calling here. I'm talking about potholes that we're talking about right now. Specifically, on Winton Way and on Olive. It's really bad, right there. I work over here at the company, and I go through there every day, and there's so many potholes right now because of the rain. It made it even worse. That whole road is terrible. When I go to work, I work here at Dole. I got to go to the side, make sure there's no incoming cars coming, and I make sure I'm not hitting the cars on the side. I'm going in there. I mean, it takes me, and then when I get to the very end, I mean, I hate to say it, I make sure there's no cars coming, but I go about 5 miles an hour. That's how bad that road is. And if there's people right behind me, I don't slow down. I mean, I move to the side, let them pass me, and I keep going. I do that all the time. Here's a suggestion. Everybody, you guys, well, not you guys, but Public Works keeps on putting tar on it. They do it. They do a good job because, I've seen it. When I call that road service, but, the rain comes and we're back to square one, Why can't they put that real, I know it's going to take a little bit longer, that ready-mix cement? Because where I work at, we had holes there, and they were covering them up. I mean, every year they would have to do the same thing. I finally talked to my supervisor. I said, once they put that ready cement, and he helped me get it, and sure enough, they put cement in those potholes that we're going through because I drive the lift there, and it's real bad. And those potholes, they fixed them about 3-4 years ago with cement, and they're still there. Okay, and those are going to stay there for the way they fixed with cement, ready cement. Give it another 5 years. So why don't you? I'm suggesting why don't they put cement? It might take a little bit longer for it to dry or whatever, but you won't have to come back. And if you come back, you're in square one again. Same old thing. And I'd like to tell you what happened. I was coming from work. This happened on a Monday. Saturday, I didn't drive the car. We went to Merced. I told my wife, can we take the car? Your car? She goes, sure. Well, I'm glad I did. Because that one Monday, I went to work. Coming out, right there in front of Shell Station at the stop sign, at the lights. I got there, and I heard a big old bang. My left tire, the idler arm, broke. And my tire was sitting there flat as a pancake. So I drove it right there. I scraped it all around the side, called me a tow truck, and I fixed it. That was at least a $1,400 repair. The idler arm that holds the tire just bam. And that was courtesy of Olive and Winton Way. So that's about it. I appreciate you guys do that because that road is bad.
You did a great job. You just made it in your 3 minutes. You made it in your 3 minutes. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Public Works Director is here. He'll take that into consideration. Okay, anybody else?
Oops, Linda Dash, Atwater. This ARPA money that you folks were gifted with, you want to buy furniture with, why can't you use some of that money? And there are a couple $1 million left in there that you could do something with. It says sidewalks. We talked about that at one of your, quote, study sessions. Why can't you? These people, I agree with them. That's what this is all about. This ARPA money is for the general public, not for 20 employees to have comfy seats. And I know it's nice. It needs to be ergonomic. But I think taxpayers, priority. I agree with these folks. Mr. Kale, thank you so very much. I love you for, bringing this to the attention of the rest of the council. Evidently, I forgot to look at their agenda on how silly that was for $329,000 for that furniture. So, I appreciate you. Thank you very, very much. Because then there was $63,000 just for setup and delivery. So, that's just kind of crazy. I want to check Hanson Furniture. I think they do special orders. They might work a deal because they're within our area, kind of Atwater-like, or maybe even Staples. Thank you. Blessings.
Anybody else?
Good
evening, Mayor Nelson and Council. Kristan Santos here representing the Office of Congressman John Duarte. Glad to have been able to join the Merced County Historical Society at their annual meeting to congratulate the Atwater Women's Club as the recipient of the 2024 Rosati Capital Improvement Grant for their Clubhouse Centennial Preservation Project. And it was also a pleasure to recently join Chief Salvador and Chief Ayuso for breakfast with the Atwater community. The number one cause of death for Americans aged 18 to 45, young men and women in the prime of their lives, is no longer car accidents or suicide. It's fentanyl. Fentanyl killed 112,000 Americans in 2023. That's more than the combined population of Atwater, Winton, Los Banos, Dos Palos, and Livingston. Congressman Duarte recently held a press conference with sheriffs, district attorneys, and representatives from San Joaquin, Stanislaus, Merced, Madera, and Fresno counties to announce his introduction of the High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Program Reauthorization Act of 2024. Border Patrol seized 26,700 pounds of fentanyl along the southern border in 2023, a 480% increase from 2020. Just this past summer, Merced County CHP officers made a $10.5 million narcotics bust in Santanella, which included 735,000 fentanyl pills, enough to kill every man, woman, and child in Merced County. The HIDA Reauthorization Act would reauthorize the HIDA program at $302 million annually through fiscal year 2030, which is a $22 million annual increase. It would create a new grant program within the HIDA program that individual HIDAs, such as Central Valley HIDA, can apply for to enhance fentanyl seizure and interdiction activities. It would require better coordination between law enforcement agencies and immigration authorities to crack down on international drug cartels, and it would direct the U.S. Attorney General to assign no less than 16 assistant U.S. attorneys to individual HIDAs to prioritize the investigation and prosecution of organizations and individuals trafficking fentanyl to ensure that these criminals are prosecuted to the full extent of the law. At that press conference, we also heard from Christy Hoffman and Christy Ayu, mothers who lost their sons to fentanyl poisoning. These aren't just statistics, these are people who had dreams and aspirations. Fentanyl can take a homeless man on the street, and fentanyl can take a decorated Army combat veteran from a wonderful family who fought for his country with honor. For far too many people in this chamber, I'm sure the battle to save our loved ones from the plague of addiction is personal. It's personal for my family, it's personal for the Congressman's family, and the Congressman already has bipartisan support for this bill, and he will see this battle through. And just today, President Brian Marvel of the Peace Officers Research Association of California, representing over 80,000 public safety members and 955 associations, announced PORAC support for this bill as well. Our office will be sure to keep you updated on its progress in the House. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kristan. Next.
Before I go into my comments here, I just want to say, you know, all this talk about the roads and everything, I was one of the authors of Measure V. There's Measure V money coming to this city. There's also SB1 money coming to this city. If there's not enough money in the Measure V account, you can borrow from another entity within the county to make up any kind of shortfalls. So the excuse for money ain't there. Now, getting to what I'm going to talk about here tonight, it's kind of sensitive. But the fact of the matter is, folks, if you look at the dais, you see that the makeup of the dais has changed. And it's no secret that our city manager has resigned. And that is something that is a shame. But here's the thing. Elections have consequences. And in 2016, our makeup of the council, it had results that it turned into a fiasco. And Brian, you know this. Our city manager fiasco from that point on was a black eye on this city like I've never seen. And then here comes along Art DeWerck, my favorite guy, appoints people as deputies to being city manager. It was just an exercise in stupidity. And what happens is Lori Waterman becomes a deputy. Ultimately, she's installed as the permanent one without one single qualification as prescribed in the municipal code. That was a shame. And from that point on, it all went downhill. So what happened over the last couple of weeks, as people probably well know by now, her behavior is what's got her now gone. And what's sad about all this is that people on this council knew about it. Staff in this city knew about her behaviors. And nobody intervened. And that was a huge disservice to Lori Waterman. She was one of the people that you should have been looking out for, and you didn't. As a matter of fact, you helped her, you facilitated it, you encouraged it, and even participated in her behaviors. And nobody knew what to do, or they didn't care to do anything about it. And now we have what we have. I am thrilled that Greg Thompson is filling this void. And I don't know whether or not you're going to make the right choice when you go back into closed session tonight. But what happened to this city, I hope and pray that this is going to be the turnaround for this city, and we have real, true city management to take care of things like what these folks have talked about tonight.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, seeing nobody else coming forward, I'm going to close public comment. We are now at city council reports and updates. Where did I start last time? Down there? Tyler, you ready? We're going to start on your side tonight.
With me?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. I was just going to read really quick. Dear friend of mine that many people in the community may or may not have known. He was moved here because of the Air Force. He was a pilot. His name's Fred Pillsbury. And I just wanted to, I was going to read some amazing things about this young man. Fred was just an amazing human being. And if you were involved in the Air Force Museum, he was greatly involved in that. And I just want to say thanks to Fred and his friendship and his family, and thoughts and prayers to his family. And yeah, that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Brian.
You know, Jim mentioned Lori resigning. She came in at a contentious time when things were just chaotic constantly, and she ultimately became city manager, and she stuck it out and worked hard and did a pretty good job working with the council and try to keep things calm and bring the peace so that way we could get things done. I just want to wish her the best and let her know we're going to miss her.
Mike, I'm sorry, can I say one more thing? I'm sorry. Breaking rules here.
Go ahead.
Okay. I do also want to thank Lori for her service and the great things that she's done for this town and this community. And I just kind of echo those same things. And I wish her the best. And yeah, thank you, Mike.
Danny?
Skipping over yourself.
I'll do the last. I'll wrap it up.
I'd like to thank Mrs. Delgado for coming tonight and mentioning the conditions of your road on Suncrest. I did not forget about our conversations. I even brought it up after you spoke with Mr. Thompson here. As for who your council person is, you are in District 1 now. So Councilman Kell is now your council person. However, feel free to always reach out to us. I will work with him as well with our Public Works Director to try to get something going, not only just for Suncrest, but for any other roads that we need to. Again, it's not a promise because, like the Public Works Director said, we got to look for the money. Once we get it, we'll definitely get things going. Want to thank staff for all the reports and the updates. You guys do a heck of a job every time when it comes to our public safety reports. Also want to wish Lori Waterman, the best in her future endeavors. At the end, she loved Antwater. Always wanted to see everything succeed, and wish you the best of luck.
Well, first, please let us work on trying to get those potholes fixed and appreciate it. in the winter, potholes come out. This is when they come out. In the winter, the rain damages the asphalt, gets underneath the subflooring of the asphalt, and that's how potholes. It's also very difficult to fill those potholes correctly because it has to be at a certain temperature, and there's a whole bunch of contributing factors to make that pothole stay in there. But we will, I'm sure that we will work with Mr. Vincent to make sure we get those corrected. And then I also want to let you know about a young couple that their name is, I hope I say his name right, is Connie and Adeline Laguna. And they did, this outstanding couple put together built their own mini library and stuck it up on the corner of Clinch and 7th Street. And it is a little Snoopy mailbox with Snoopy on there. They did a great job of painting it. So they put books in there. We've taken a couple books and put it in there. And so I really want to say thank you to the Lagunas for making their neighborhood look better, and just congratulate them on a job well done. Now, Mr. Price, I'm going to talk a little history. Were you not the mayor when Arch Work was here? Were you the one who your guy is counting him?
It's not getting it back and forth. Just please make your comments.
Okay. Oh, so anyway, so I appreciate everything Lois did. She did a great job together and put it together in this city, brought it up, held managers accountable, did everything she possibly could to make the city of Atwater better. And then if there's anybody that is at fault for her actions, she has admitted to me that it was hers. None of us could have done anything to stop those actions. We appreciate you. We will miss you greatly, and hope the haters can stop hating. Thanks.
Okay. Excuse me. So I'll wrap this up for this evening. So as the public is becoming aware, Mrs. Waterman submitted her letter of resignation this past week, and it was effective at 5 o'clock this afternoon. We will be going into closed session after this again to discuss the acting city manager's position, Greg's currently the acting city manager, but as far as interim city manager. And as far as Lori goes, you know, it's no secret that I wasn't a fan, but this was not the way for her to go out. I will give Lori tremendous credit for the fact that she owned up to her mistake, and she felt, to coin a phrase, fell on her sword for it and didn't try to blame anybody else for her poor decisions. And she felt it was in the city's best interest that she resign and not wait till her normal resignation or end of her contract at the end of December. So I give her great credit for that. Second of all, we had the general plan update workshop a couple weeks ago, and it was fairly well attended. We had about 30 to 40 people there, roughly 40. Okay, that was good. We're going to have the next one is going to be on February 28th. That's a Wednesday. It's going to be at 6 o'clock right here in these chambers. And I encourage everybody here to show up for that, because we need public input onto how you want to see the city grow over the next 20 plus years. And then finally, I did have an obituary to read here for Annie Hailstock. Annie worked here for 37 years as a city employee, which is basically unheard of anymore. Annie was 84. She retired in 2010. When I was my term at the fire department, she worked in the finance department. She had worked her way up, become the finance manager. So I worked with her saw her pretty regular, and she's just a really great, wonderful lady. And so I'm going to adjourn the meeting in her honor. And with that, we're going to go to closed session. And we will